The telling of the beginning. This is an apocalyptic account of our present and past time, as well as a glimpse into the future of possible futures. I started thinking about writing a book decades ago, but was never sure on a topic. And of course, there was always the constraints of time to keep me occupied. The daily grind to exist, it's hard to contend with. Only after I woke up to a harsh reality would I get my direction. Most of us go through life with our heads down, our noses to the grindstone, never fully acknowledging the world around us, except in glimpses. Never really enough to notice cause and effect, or how the little things add up. One or two little things, well, that's no really big deal, but when there are millions of them, you get something of epic proportions. Reflections of the twofold spirit. The first thing I remember is staring up at my mobile. I used to love the colors. They were so bright, almost hypnotizing. Listening to the music, watching it go around. I remember how angry I would get when nobody would wind it up. I had a job to do after all. It's funny how people never noticed me. I'm always there, but I never got the credit I deserved. After all, I do give you whatever you want. All I ever asked for in return was a little consideration. I know my methods are a little unorthodox and at times defy all human reason, but they are very effective. My only problem is I'm a baby, or I was a baby, but now I'm a kid. I've never had a feeling of helplessness. I just knew I was a baby. I remember telling myself as I lay there waiting for someone to come and help me, that when I get big, I would spin it myself. You have no idea how hard it has been to find the perfect person. I've searched for millennia. I had to test and groom so many people, the disappointments are too many to count. Just when I thought I had them, the worst would happen. I remember in the beginning feeding a certain couple, teaching them the ways of the world. So much fun we had, or I had. Watching the dawning of comprehension and with it the horror of the world. It has a way of putting people in a perfect state of mind. It gives them direction and a sense of purpose. The world was getting a little too crowded, so I was in the process of restructuring. Of course, that's when he stepped in. I didn't even know he was there. What an awakening that was for me. We have only been recently acquainted. I thought I was the supreme and only ruler of this world. To know I had an adversary equal to or greater than me filled me with a sense of awe and even dread. Although we had different methods, my power then or my presence was unchallenged. My mind was ferocious. I was very instinctual. I was a survivor. So I wasn't the planner he was. There was no reason for a plan. I just did whatever I wanted to. But now I had to consider another presence. It was one of the worst times of my life. I started walking back and forth in the world, studying everything I could. The more I walked, the more my apprehension grew, and with it, rage. I had to do something, but what? I needed a plan. The first thing I had to do was find a way to communicate. It was probably the most challenging thing I have ever undertaken. I could see my instincts would not be enough. Even though they are the very essence of who you are, how can I talk to you with my instincts? You have no comprehension of who I am. You have never seen me. I will not go unnoticed. You will know who I am. So I went to work naming the world. I had to define myself. I couldn't leave you at his mercy. Instincts are one of his most ruthless tools. You are the mindless, the helpless victims of his whims, whatever sordid games he could think of to ease his boredom. I will call you Ward. I had to find a way to inspire you, to make you see who he really was. The bum. The bum said he had strong feet, while he was looking down at his boots. I didn't quite grasp the gravity of his comments at the time, but death has followed me like a plague ever since. All I did was bring him a bag of sugar so he could make us French toast. Well, that's the first chapter excerpt.